Hello and welcome to DD India. I'm Akshay Dongre and you're watching a special program, Voice of the Global South, a show that brings to you stories, news, achievements and concerns of a rising aspirational world. So let us begin with today's episode. The general elections in Pakistan were held under the shadow of military rulers and several deadly attacks. The attacks, which killed several people, once again highlighted the fragile state of democracy in the South Asian nation.
Twin blasts killed 30 people and injured more than 40 in Pakistan's Balochistan province. The blasts occurred a day before the general elections near electoral candidates' offices, targeting poll candidates. The first explosion took place at the office of an independent election candidate in Pishin district and the second outside a party office in the Kila Saifullah district.
From the blast in Khanuzai, we received 14 casualties. 4 of them have been martyred. 10 injured have been sent to different units of the hospital for treatment.
The blasts took place despite thousands of police and paramilitary forces deployed across Pakistan. The attacks targeted the election offices of political parties. Soon after the attacks, Pakistan closed its border crossings with Iran and Afghanistan while stepping up security at the polling booths. Just 2 days before the twin blasts, a police station in northwest Pakistan was attacked by militants on February 5, where at least 10 police personnel were killed and 6 others injured. Late in the night, militants attacked the police station with sniper fire and then entered the building in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province.
At the moment, we received 6 injured who were provided medical treatment immediately, and they are safe and sound with the grace of God. 1 injured was operated on and he is also stable and well now. Apart from that, as you are seeing, as we have received 10 dead bodies here.
These attacks have raised questions on the security of voters and candidates. Pakistan holds a history of violence during election time, be it in 2013 or 2018. As the nation battles an economic crisis, soaring inflation and a weak currency, while navigating a recovery path under a $3 billion International Monetary Fund bailout, general elections were held in the country on February 8. In order to avert a sovereign debt default, the South Asian country is operating under a caretaker government and the IMF loan program. Since 2022, when a ceasefire between the Pakistani Taliban and the government broke down, Pakistan has seen a resurgence of attacks by Islamist militants, especially those targeting security personnel. Pakistan's new government will need to deal with a strong economic slowdown as the inflation is still hovering above 30%. The common man in the country struggles for basic requirements on daily basis.
In 1947, both India and Pakistan gained independence. While India went on to become one of the most notable democracies in the world, no elected Prime Minister in Pakistan has been able to complete its tenure in 75 years of its independent history. Pakistan has been ruled by 4 military rulers under 3 different military coups since its independence. After independence, Liaquat Ali Khan was appointed as the first Prime Minister of Pakistan. He ruled the country for over 4 years until his assassination on 16th October 1951. From 1951 to 1958, Pakistan saw 6 different prime ministers until in 1958, President Iskandar Mirza carried out a coup, suspending the constitution. Shortly afterwards, Army Chief General Ayub Khan deposed Mirza and declared himself as president. It was only in 1970 the first general elections were held in Pakistan, in which Awami League in East Pakistan won most number of seats. However, the leadership of West Pakistan refused to accept the mandate, leading to Bangladesh's War of Liberation. After losing war to India in 1971, martial law was finally lifted in Pakistan. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto won the nation's first general elections and became the Prime Minister in 1973. However, he also couldn't complete his tenure. The second military coup took place in 1977 when General Zia-ul-Haq dissolved the parliament and placed Bhutto under house arrest. Military chief Zia-ul-Haq resigned in 1985 and picked Muhammad Khan Junejo as country's new prime minister. Pakistan's third and last military coup took place in 1999 when General Pervez Musharraf ousted Nawaz Sharif over Pakistan's military action against India in Kargil. When Sharif attempted to sack Musharraf and appoint another army general in his place, the Pakistani army chief overthrew his government and declared martial law. Musharraf remained in power till 2008. Polls were held on February 8th in Pakistan. The 13 general elections were held under the shadow of military rule, with a role in decision-making related to foreign affairs, national security, and the economy as well. Pakistan has hardly seen a successful democratic era over the years of its formation, after forming a separate Muslim nation in 1947. After the first military coup ended in 1972, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was elected the president. Bhutto then became the prime minister after a new constitution was enacted, declaring Pakistan a parliamentary democracy, with a prime minister as the head of the state. He stayed in power until Army Chief General Zia-ul-Haq removed him. In 1988, Pakistan's People Party, led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's daughter, Benazir, won the election, making her the first female prime minister of the Muslim country. President Ghulam Ishaq Khan dissolved the National Assembly, however, in 1990, dismissing Bhutto's government on charges of alleged corruption and incompetence. Nawaz Sharif was elected prime minister in fresh election result held in 1990. In 1993, President Ghulam Ishaq Khan dismissed Sharif's government and Benazir Bhutto is re-elected as prime minister. Farooq Leghari is elected as the president. Soon in 1996, President Farooq Leghari dissolved the National Assembly, dismissing Benazir Bhutto's government now this time. And Nawaz Sharif wins in a landslide victory and is re-elected in 1997 as Prime Minister until 1999 when General Pervez Musharraf takes over power in a coup. After 2007, military rule has not been imposed in Pakistan, yet the general elections are never successful in the nation. 2008 elected Yusuf Raza Gilani as Prime Minister and Bhutto's widower Asif Ali Zardari as the President, becoming the longest-serving Prime Minister in Pakistan's history. Gilani was charged of corruption and was succeeded by Raza Parvez Ashraf in 2012. In 2013, the mainstream political party succeeded in first-ever transfer of power from one elected government to another. 2018 saw Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf, led by cricketer-turned-politician Imran Khan, win, while the opposition accused of rigged elections. PTI managed to stay in power until 2022. To keep the country's political system weak, the military stoked competition for power among the political parties, pitting one party against another, the consequences of which we are seeing in the ongoing general elections as well. India announced the national education policy in 2020 after a gap of over 3 decades as a need to address the evolving needs of the education world. It aims at understanding the Indian knowledge, traditions and aspirations of a self-reliant India. India, world's largest country in terms of population, is set to go through a massive transformation in its education system through the National Education Policy that was introduced in 2020 after a gap of over 3 decades, as India is addressing the evolving needs of the education world. The NEP aims at understanding the Indian knowledge, traditions and aspirations of a self-reliant India. Focused on the 5 guiding principles of access, equity, quality, affordability and accountability, NEP aims at preparing the youth to meet the diverse national and global challenges of the present and the future. With the implementation of the National Education Policy, a target of 50% gross enrollment ratio in higher education by 2037 is set, which means that all the students who are undergoing in the primary, secondary and higher education should go to the higher education institutes as well. The policy focuses on both foundational skills of literacy as well as social and emotional skills. It seeks to increase public investment in education, strengthen the use of technology, and increase focus on vocational and adult education. The highlight of the new education policy is comprehensive approach allowing multidisciplinary education, encouraging learners to explore a diverse range of subjects. A major step in the proposed NEP is to adopt a simple, credible and rationalized system for approval, accreditation and ranking of higher education institutes, with a technology-driven modern system. The salient features of the recommendations are binary accreditation, allowing accreditation with grades separately for any department or any program offered by the same institution. Under the maturity-based graded accreditation, higher educational institutes will be categorized as accredited or non-accredited between level 1 to 5 based on their vision and legacy. One Nation, One Data platform proposes a digital platform for all higher education institutes to upload their data regarding their students, faculty, infrastructure, research projects and placements, enabling data simplification. Only 30% of India's 1,000 universities and 9,000 among its 50,000 general colleges have been accredited as per a report by the Department of Higher Education. The binary accreditation will be implemented in the next 4 months, and no new applications will be accepted as per the present methodology thereafter. The maturity-based graded levels will be implemented by December 2024. The binary accreditation to be implemented in the country is also in line with the best practices followed by many leading countries in the world. It has been highlighted that the new education policy can act as a template for emerging economies towards developing comprehensive strategies for human resources. The new policy reflects India's commitment to addressing key priorities of the developing world, mainly education and skill development. Having a global education system will enable students and faculty exchange programs, encouraging collaborative solutions, innovations, sharing of best practices among the Global South countries. Education in most Global South countries has suffered due to various factors. India with NEP will help in creating a system aligned to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. As India remains committed to partner with the Global South in efforts toward achieving the goal of universal education and human resource development, the policy is expected to bring long-lasting positive impact on the education system and making India a global hub of skilled manpower during the Amrit Kal, the next 25 years leading up to the developed India in 2047. NEP 2020 claims to become a premium global education destination, providing world-class education at affordable prices, accessible to students from the developing countries.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution. This series is going to tell stories of such changemakers. Watch Changemakers on DD India.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world, one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India and this is Voice of the Global South. Let's move on to our next stories. Global warming is once again wreaking havoc and claiming lives, this time in the form of wildfires in the South American nation Chile, showcasing what's to come if the world doesn't take emergency measures to contain the climate crisis.
Devastating wildfires in South America's Chile has claimed at least 131 lives. Destruction caused by blazing flames over 3 days have scorched more than 1,100 hectares in city of Valparaiso, and up to 6,000 homes have suffered damage at varying degrees. President Gabriel Boric declared a state of emergency in the affected regions.
From one moment to the next, the fire reached the botanical park. In 10 minutes, the fire was already on us. There was smoke. The sky turned black. Everything was dark. The wind felt like a hurricane. It was like being in hell.
Evacuation began soon after dense smoke from the wildfires engulfed regions of Chile. Fire brigades, police, air tankers, and helicopters tried to control the spread of the fire. Caused by weather conditions such as high temperature, controlling the wildfires was complicated due to strong winds.
The fire advances very quickly, and the climate conditions that we have yesterday as well as today has made the combating of fires more complicated. High temperatures, strong winds, an average of about 30 km with gusts up to 60 km, and also low humidity. So if you get a message to evacuate and think that the fire is far, do not doubt it. If you receive a message, it is because you have to do it. We want to save lives and protect you.
Residents have been forced to flee their homes, and relief efforts ensure the distribution of essential supplies to affected regions. The fires have left a trail of destruction as residents picked through the debris of the destroyed houses and burnt out cars. This was the deadliest outbreak of forest fires in Chile in the past decade.
This was my kitchen. I had my washing machine there too. This was the bathroom. This is where the shower would have been, the toilet. Here was the bedroom. There, another bedroom. This was my living room, dining room.
While relief efforts have started in the South American nation, the survivors of Chile's devastating wildfires are now facing another threat, living outside as they rebuild homes completely destroyed in the deadly blazes. The government has suffered losses of more than hundreds of millions of US dollars. Many places in Chile entered a state of emergency with curfew imposed since February 2nd. Wildfires are not uncommon in Chile. However, the challenging weather conditions in the country are further intensified by the El Nino weather phenomena, characterized by warming of the Pacific Ocean, making these phenomena more frequent.
Over the years, climate change is directly contributing to humanitarian emergencies from heat waves, wildfires, floods, tropical storms, droughts, and hurricanes that are increasing in scale, frequency, and intensity as well. The 6th Assessment Report of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change showcases that 3.6 billion people already live in areas highly susceptible to climate change, and most of these areas are in the global south. It also states that the climate change can cause 250,000 additional deaths per year from diseases like undernutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress between the years 2030 and 2050. Recent climate conditions increases waterborne and foodborne disease risk. 2 billion people lack safe drinking water, and 600 million suffer from foodborne illnesses annually, with children under 5 bearing 30% of foodborne fatalities. Vector-borne diseases caused by climate change result in over 700,000 deaths annually. 37% of heat-related deaths are caused by human-induced climate change. It also noted that deaths of people above the age of 65 have risen by 70% in the last 2 decades. Despite contributing minimally to global emissions, low-income countries endure the harshest health impacts. Most developing countries have weak health infrastructure and are unable to cope up with the climate crisis without assistance. As a result, death rate from extreme weather events in the last decade was 15 times higher in developing countries. A new World Economic Forum report warns that by 2050, climate change may cause $12.5 trillion economic losses worldwide. The Global South suffers disproportionately high cost in relation to the size of their economies. Over the past half-century, several disasters have caused economic losses of up to 30% of gross domestic product of many countries. Healthcare services play a major role in climate crisis deaths. With limited healthcare resources and funds, countries from the Global South are struggling to deal with the effects of the climate change like floods, heat waves, droughts, and storms. Diseases caused by the impact of climate change affect the most vulnerable, including women, children, ethnic minorities, poor communities, migrants, or displaced people. Older population and those with underlying health conditions are impacted as well. To avert catastrophic health impacts and prevent millions of climate change-related deaths, the world must limit temperatures rise to 1.5% as it has been decided. To tackle the climate-driven health crisis, there is a need for significant climate-related health investments. The world needs to support a rapid and equitable transition to clean energy economies. Providing cheaper and more reliable cleaner solutions to build a better, more climate resilient and environmentally sustainable health system is the key to control diseases led by the climate change. Emphasizing climate change's health implication, aiming to centralize health in climate policies is a way forward to reduce the consequences caused in the developing nations. It is important to focus on collaboration across sectors, updated guidance, hand-on training and support for project preparations and execution, as well as for securing climate and health funding. Uganda is considering introducing breeding facilities for lions in 3 selected national parks to increase population, but this is stirring controversy among conservation groups. World Animal Protection, a global animal welfare charity in the UK, says captive breeding has failed before and instead left animals in poor health. The initiative is seen as a ray of hope for dwindling lion population in the country from 460 in 2022 to 310 now. Isabel Nakiria reports.
Resting on the hilly forest of Mpigi outside the capital Kampala is a lion breeding facility. The city's Sea Conservation Center is raising lions in a caged natural environment on 10 acres of land. From just 4 lions in 2015, the population has now climbed to 26. Conservationists here say confining lions in a natural environment instead of caging them can rapidly grow their numbers because they are closely watched.
But one needs to find out what the underlying problem is before one can reintroduce. Once that is established, then it's easy. A facility like this and even UA can cordon off areas where they breed lions, raise them in a natural way where they learn how to hunt. We're not doing that at the moment. Our lions are habituated because we need to interact with them for medical checkups. It's much easier if you can call the lion and just give him an injection without needing to put him down.
The sanctuary is now cordoning off more land to fit in the expanding population. And they say the big cats need constant attention and proper care to keep the population thriving.
They need to reinforce the policies that governs reinforcing so that the rangers or national parks are really monitored very well. And then also these animals to be vaccinated against these viruses so that we don't lose more of the lions, because even if CTC or any other wildlife facility reintroduces them in the wild and the problem is not being solved, then they will just be released and they will die.
Uganda's lion numbers are going down. The country has lost lions due to suspected poisoning in the recent years. Communities bordering the parks are suspected to be poisoning the lions in retaliation for their attacks on their livestock. Now, the Uganda Wildlife Education Center, or the Entebbe Zoo, is planning to build cages in a natural environment in the national parks to grow the numbers, a similar idea to what's happening at the City Sea Conservation Park. Currently, 15 lions are in confinement here at the Entebbe Zoo, and some of them will be used as part of the breeding initiative in the national parks. The lions will be placed in cages in the parks and released after a while under close monitoring. But some conservation groups are against confining lions, warning it could stress the animals and lead to failed health. The Wildlife Education Center refutes this claim, saying the lions will be let out of the cages once in a while to roam under natural conditions.
It's going to be a controlled environment. And we are talking about a project where you're going to employ people. They are going to be observing these animals on a daily in terms of their welfare, their husbandry, but also their natural behavior is what we are promoting. And so we think that since they're in a controlled environment, then You don't have issues of a disease coming in, but also they are going to be observed.
The Wildlife Agency says communities neighboring the parks need also to be educated about the importance of wildlife and supporting community projects like beekeeping or craft shops so they can earn from tourism instead of killing the animals. Isabel Nakiria, reporting for DD India in Entebbe.
This is all we have for you in this edition of Voice of the Global South. Let us know your thoughts on the program. You can also connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching our special program. News and updates continue on DD India. Keep watching.